The Swisse Mark Webber Tasmania Challenge first came to Australia's island state in 2003. The Formula One driver finding the perfect venue to share his love of adventure with others. Over the years, his challenge has become the world's most unmissable multi-sport race, set in the perfect destination for adventure. The route changes every year, and this time we'll explore the northeast, starting in Tasmania's second largest city, Launceston, where they'll find wild rivers, before travelling on to experience the power of the oceans, from on top and underneath. In all, they will travel 350 unforgettable kilometres on Australia's Adventure Island.
It's a 5-day adventure race, lots of different disciplines in kayaking, mountain biking and running, a few mystery disciplines, some navigation as well, checkpoints you've got to get during the day. And it's now an adventure race that's out there on its own in terms of getting world-class athletes to come here year in, year out, and also for enthusiasts to come and compete with those world-class athletes year in, year out. Tasmania works for the challenge because you can get very remote very, very fast. It's very raw, it's clean, it's fresh. You've got so many amazing locations. We're sport for choices where we can run the course actually, and you think we've had 6 years down here now, and we still haven't gone over the same metre really once yet.
With its spectacular World Heritage areas, Tasmania provides delights and drama in equal measure. They'll take on some of the most awe-inspiring and gut-wrenching climbs, to enjoy spectacular views and helter-skelter descents, the last of which will take them to the finish in the state capital of Hobart, where Tasmania's motor racing fans will be out in force to see their hero and his Renault-powered Red Bull Formula One car, or its miniature versions. Along the way, the event will raise funds for two charities close to Webber's heart, the youth mentoring organisation White Lion and the Save the Tasmanian Devil charity, which aims to save the island's unique and iconic animal from extinction. The 42 teams gather in Australia's third oldest city, Launceston, for the start. Ahead of them are 5 days of racing that will each last between 6 and 8 hours. They'll compete in pairs, with enthusiasts lining up alongside world-class adventure racers and stars of other sports, such as the 2xU Aussie All-Stars, made up of triathletes Aaron Royal and Brendan Sexton. Another Australian star pairing is the Red Bullettes, pro surfer Sally Fitzgibbons with Ironman champion Jordan Magic Mercer. The setting for the first stage is Launceston's Country Club Tasmania. With the golf course and other facilities being put to unusual uses, the teams take on some less physically testing challenges which must be completed before they take on the rest of day one's 72-kilometre course. For all 5 days, everyone races the same course, but there are 3 separate competitions. The elite pairs are high-class athletes competing for a share of the $30,000 prize money. The enthusiast pairs are corporate teams and non-professional athletes, and the enthusiast teams are groups of 3 with just 2 on the course at any one time, swapping members at transition areas between stages. One of the enthusiast teams are the Sporting Pulse Shinboners, including former football stars Lee Colbert and John Spall, along with North Melbourne legend Glenn Archer. It's Archer's 3rd time taking part, with Colbert also a veteran in the 2008 challenge.
I'm nervous, very exciting, but a huge day today. So I'm going to navigate pretty much around Launceston, and Buff and I's skills aren't real good when it comes to navigating, so we're under the pump.
Saying our navigational skills aren't so good. He's a pilot, so you would think his navigational skills would be good.
So the aim of the game for you guys?
Finished.
Renault Sport will be looking to do a bit better in the enthusiast team race. Deanna Blegg is a veteran of the challenge and brings the adventure race know-how to the team, competing with Ironman Kane Eckstein and triathlete Taylor Cecil.
You race alongside other athletes, but other people that are new to the sport or dabbling in one sport to the other. So you're amongst so many new fresh faces. The energy is great. I'm really excited to be here.
The paddling stage on the water hazard will suit one competitor very well.
It's going to be 6 to 8 hour days is what we're expecting to do. I might have been able to hurt myself for a minute 35 or 3 minute 30. It's a completely different event to what I'm normally doing. I'm pretty excited just to to see how I actually get through this first day, and then I'll take each day as it comes.
It's not long before the Olympic champions' adventure will begin. Ken's kayak wouldn't get far on the Esk River in Cataract Gorge, and the teams will soon be whetting their appetites for what the next 5 days have in store. Welcome back to the Swisse Mark Webber Tasmania Challenge. We're still in the centre of Launceston, but the teams are into their first adventure, rafting in Cataract Gorge. The teams share rafts for this stage, which means there's limited opportunity for the elite pairs to gain an advantage. On the right of this shot is New Zealander Richard Usher, a past winner of the event, 5-time winner of the New Zealand Coast to Coast, and adventure racing world champion. With that pedigree, Usher and fellow Kiwi Braden Curry, racing as Team Tasmania, start as the overwhelming favourites.
I mean, a lot of people are looking at our team and going, well, there's a lot of horsepower there, and I think we just have to be really patient and not try and win the race on the first stage of the first day, because there's a lot of good people here, and they're going to be able to to hang on for varying degrees of time. So I think you just have to race sort of a little bit within yourself and make sure you don't make any mistakes, and then when an opportunity presents itself, you just got to be ready to take it.
In Cataract Gorge, Hydro Tasmania have let out more than enough wild water for a seasoned pro like Usher.
Get down, hold on!
He stays on board, others like Team Caltex aren't so lucky. It's a swim for Europcar Tasmania too, along with the rest of their crew. As the gorge gets wider, the water becomes an unlikely calm, and as they beach the rafts, the race is on. The leading elite pair are Guy Andrews and Rob Pommy, Team Renault Adventure. Andrews is a former Ironman champion, experienced adventure racer, and movie stuntman, who has competed in nearly every Mark Webber challenge and won it once. This small lead provides an opportunity he has to take.
Well, we're first with about 5 other teams, so there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Just got to keep things focused right now.
With riding, running and kayaking stages, there are 67 checkpoints to locate around Launceston today. Teams can take a shorter course and not get every checkpoint, but that will mean less time bonuses when they reach the finish at the Jamesburg Brewery. Chasing the leaders are the Aussie duo of Team Swisse Active, with challenge veteran Jared Kohler, third last year, partnering James Preto. The Kiwis, Usher and Curry, and Tasmanian residents Mark Hinder and Mark Padgett, racing as Team Ironhouse, are the defending champions. These elite teams are experienced adventure racers and generally navigate their way straight to the checkpoints. Others, like Team Qantas, will learn the ropes in the week ahead. The 2XU Aussie All-Stars feature the World Under-23 Triathlon champion Aaron Royal and Olympian Brendan Sexton. Triathlon courses are well signposted though.
You lost? Very lost. It's just this one last checkpoint.
In the enthusiast pairs, the backcountry adventure addicts are hitting the mark, as are Renault Sport in the enthusiast teams. Next up is 11 kilometres in the kayaks, and while there's no navigation for the 2XU Aussie All-Stars to deal with, there is the matter of technique. And the French adventure racing world champions Jackie Bousset and Myriam Guillot, Team Pure Tasmania, are soon cruising by. It's back to school for many of the rookie teams. The Red Bullets are professional athletes and racing in the elite event, but they are adventure race newcomers too. Despite this, they do have plenty of background to bring to a multi-sport event. Surf Ironman star Jordan Mercer is a world champion and world record holder at paddle boarding. World-beating pro surfer Sally Fitzgibbons is also a former national cross-country running champion.
I've dabbled in all the elements of adventure racing but never put them all together, and we're probably starting at the extreme end of things, jumping in the deep end here with what we've got in front of us for the next 5 days, but I feel like we've prepared as best we can, and then we just have to go for it.
I think it's important to remember that we're always learning, and although it's one big day ahead and there's plenty of elements and different activities that we're doing, it's just one checkpoint at a time, one leg at a time, one day at a time. And hopefully you'll see some smiling faces at the finish before we know it.
There's another 22 kilometres to cover before that finish line. And when they get there, it's Jared Kohler and James Preto of the elite pairs who are smiling the most. Swisse Active reached the brewery first to give Australia something to cheer. They're 17 minutes ahead of the defending champions, 22 minutes ahead of the favourites, and 35 minutes ahead of the early leaders, Renault Adventure.
Probably got some of the best adventure racing and triathletes in the world here doing the event. So yeah, we're pretty happy that we got the win and with our day.
Chris Morgan and Karsten Forsterling both won medals at the London Olympics in rowing. Racing as Team James Bogue, they are 6th and have more than earned a draft of the team beer.
Our first time for both of us and thoroughly enjoyed it. Amazing scenery, amazing event.
What about the whitewater rafting down the famous Cataract Gorge?
I don't need the rafting. First bump, it spat me out and I just did it on my ass. So yeah, that was good fun. I'll be a bit bruised and battered tomorrow, but wouldn't trade it for anything else. It's an adventure.
And as the first day of it comes to a close, the Adventure Addicts are 3rd in the enthusiast pairs, behind Tilford Auto Group and X-Tech. The enthusiast teams is close fought between Renault Sport, Qantas and Rexona No Quit.
The whitewater rafting this morning, that was just awesome. That was just so much fun. The downhill killed my quads. The whole day I've been gritting my teeth, mate. I couldn't wait to cross the finish line. That's awesome. It's a great first day.
Renault Sport would agree. They're leading the enthusiast teams.
We love the navigation, there was all these little checkpoints, but they were deep in the bush and you really had to look for them, so it was good to, especially the mountain bike, love the mountain bike. Me and Taylor, we hadn't been on it that much and he took a few spills, which were pretty funny to watch, but yeah, it was a good fun day.
So far, so fun, but day 2 might make him think again. Join us after the break as the challenge goes onwards and upwards. It's day 2 of the Swiss Mark Webber Tasmania Challenge, and as the 42 teams line up for the start, there's plenty of camaraderie and some big smiles to see. But all that won't last long. They'll soon be facing their first big test of the event, as they ride their bikes a short distance to the east, away from Launceston and into the wild mountains of Ben Lomond National Park. 20% of Tasmania consists of World Heritage areas, and there are 19 national parks, all of which are protected by the Tasmanian Parks and Wildlife Service, so that everyone, from tourists to adventure racers, can enjoy the landscape.
Today they're going to be going up Jacob's Ladder, which is a very, very steep climb on the mountain bikes to start with. That's going to sort them in from the boys out very, very early in the day. And then they're going to come into Ben Lomond, up over the back, on the foot as well, a bit of mountain biking as well, really, really rough under feet, really craggy, cut your legs a little bit, winter or summer, it's pretty brutal up there. Down onto a paddle, which they're not quite sure what they're in for there, but it's going to be pretty smoky for them in terms of getting through a tough paddle section, so they're going to really enjoy today.
Kayaker Ken Wallace sets the tempo at the start of the Renault bike stage. The Olympic gold medalist is racing for Rexona in the enthusiast teams category, but the big sprinter won't stay up front for long. As the climb begins, the elite pairs start to move up. Pro surfer Sally Fitzgibbons for the Red Bullets is demonstrating the fitness that brought her national running titles. Team James Bogue are also in the elite pairs. Although rowing is their day job, they're carrying the fight to the professional adventure racers on the climb to Ben Lomond, and determined to hang on to the lead group for as long as they can. Professional triathlete Brendan Sexton is also joining the battle. Even Richard Usher is feeling the burn, as his rival and race leader Jared Kohler of Swisse Active. It will take guts and willpower to win the stage, and there are 5 or 6 teams with their eyes on that honour. It's a place of brutal beauty, and with the ascent of Jacob's Ladder to come, they'll be feeling it as well as witnessing it. On a climb like this, there are plenty who run out of gears.
Wow, we could not believe it when we came around that corner and seen that climb. Unbelievable.
One team that don't give in to the gradients are the rowers, Team James Bogue, who beat the pro adventure racers to the start of the Rexona Run stage. But with an eager Team Swisse active behind, the overtake doesn't take long. Jared's back in front, but the leaders will soon find that this pace is not sustainable on the rough ground ahead. This 20-kilometre mountain running stage will take our teams on a route that includes Tasmania's second highest summit, Legs Tall. Only 45 minutes from Launceston, the Ben Lomond Range is a thriving ski area in the winter, and in the spring and summer, a base for breathtaking walks or running races like this.
Getting on today. Good, mate. Good day. Good day so far. Hilly, but love it. Tough.
I'll tell you what, 106 we've blown up, but we're going to box on.
The climb up Ossian's Throne will take them to a series of summits that line the ridge and some views worth pausing for. Not that the leading elite pairs will. Usher and Curry are in front now, but it's the same cast and the same close chase as day one. And afterwards, a 40-kilometre descent, partly hike and partly bike, takes them to the North Esk River. Team Tasmania are the first to the transition to kayak, and they are the first to meet up with Mark, who is here to join in the challenge tomorrow. Richard Usher's in the middle of his race though, and there isn't time for much of a chat now. There's an 11-kilometre pure Tasmania kayak stage ahead, before a short run into the finish. The shallow water makes paddling difficult in places. A few years ago, it wouldn't have been possible at all. Willow trees were planted on Tasmania by the first settlers, but in some places, including North Esk, they have come to choke the water flow. Tasmania's willow control programs have successfully restored a babbling river, and amongst our paddlers, the Australians have made the most of it. The leading two teams sprint in together. By catching the Kiwis on the river, Swisse Active have defended their lead from day one. Jared and James don't want to lose the race on home soil, and Richard Usher has plenty to contemplate.
And I was doing everything I could just to try and keep pace with Jared and James, and so I mean, that sort of turned into sort of damage limitation there a bit, and we managed to get a little bit of a lead at one stage, but we had a flat tyre, and it was never going to be a massive amount of time. We were going to pull back on these boys anyway. They were just fine.
It's a rare thing to get in front of Richard and Braden, so we're pretty lucky to have a bit of a lead, and we're just going to try to play it smart, and that's probably all I'll say now because they're standing right there.
3 days to go and the competition is heating up. Swisse Active have a 23-minute lead, although a racer like Richard Usher is more than capable of wiping that out. Pure Tasmania have moved up to fourth, while the defending champions, Team Ironhouse, have found it very difficult to match the pace of the leaders for another long day.
8 hours 39. That's more than a standard work day. I'm going to apply for some overtime, I think.
Everyone would agree, it's been a long shift for elites and enthusiasts.
It was a tough day. Yeah, very hard day. We didn't do all the compulsories, but geez, the guys that do, hats off to them. That was tough.
The efforts paid off though, and Tilford Auto Group are still in second in the enthusiast pairs, while X-Tech still lead. In the enthusiast teams, Renault Sport are looking good, chased by Rexona. For teams of every level, and for pro athletes from other sports, it's been a day not just for racing, but to learn what this event is all about.
I was watching people hang off cliffs today trying to get checkpoints, and it's opened my eyes up to a whole new, I've got a lot of respect for those guys out the front, how quick they're going and what they do.
It is good to sort of stop at the end of the day and realise what you've accomplished. I mean, to start off with that, it turned out to be about 20 Ks of incredible incline. That was like Tour de Tasmania. It was incredible. It's definitely, I think, personally, my biggest accomplishment in my life.
Join us after the break as day 3 begins with a different but equally dramatic challenge, the power of the Tasman Sea. Taking place on the east coast of Tasmania, in the Scamander and St Mary's regions, Day 3 of the Swisse Mark Webber Tasmania Challenge will present the teams with another huge test as they take on the surf of the Tasman Sea. It's also the day that Mark Webber enters the competition.
Got coastal run to start with, sand, rocks, and then a long paddle, 20k paddle pretty much. Bit of ocean, then we go inland, nice river paddle, which would be a change of scenery for people, and that's quite spectacular in there. Then a long mountain bike, a few checkpoints to get there and a bit of climbing here and there, and then another little run at the end. But really good day, nice backdrop. We've never seen it this tight into this, this duration of the race, so be interested to see how it goes today.
As he's entering the competition late, Mark is not eligible for the elite event. He's competing in the enthusiast category, paired today with Ironman legend Darren Mercer, father of the Red Bullets Jordan. The day begins with a run along 4 Mile Beach, but the soft sand and rock hopping make it hard going for Mark's introduction to the challenge. And if that doesn't let him know his race has begun, he'll soon have to face the surf at the start of a 19-kilometre pure Tasmania kayak leg. Swisse Active have a small lead on the Kiwis, Usher and Curry, as they power out through the waves. They make it look easy, but some of the less experienced racers in the enthusiast event must be really fearing that it's not. Even if you don't go in straight away, the boat can fill up with water and become unstable, making a capsize even harder to avoid. The Sporting Pulse shinboners Glenn Archer and John Spall have taken on water. The former footballers are upright but unsteady. It might only take one wave. Quite a few teams are soon back where they started, sorting out the mess and getting ready to try again.
Oh, it's not so bad looking at the wave, it's only when you're upside down looking in the ocean that's the problem.
A big wave hit us and just flipped us back and turned us over.
Team Qantas are one of those back on the beach, but at least they're upright. Can Qantas ambassador Mark Webber stay the same way up? Mark and Darren are heading out to sea, just ahead of the Red Bullets, Sally Fitzgibbons and Jordan Mercer. There's more than enough surf experience in both boats, and the only casualty is Mark's hat. After a short journey down the coast, they have to tackle the breakers again, in the opposite direction at Scamander Beach. The last 11 kilometres of the Pure Tasmania kayak stage take place upstream on the River Scamander, but you have to get to it first. Something many teams don't manage without a drama. Perhaps surprisingly, the Red Bullets are among those taking a swim. A short way upstream, the River Scamander is a scene of tranquility. The going is anything but easy though, with the tide and the current against them. Mark and Darren are dealing with it nicely and moving up through the field. Big D's got plenty of Ironman power left and may be remembering what a race feels like. Mark seems to be enjoying it. At the front of the pack, Swisse Active are increasing the gap on Team Tasmania. It's an opportunity to take a decisive lead in the race, and Jared looks determined to seize it as they drop the kayak and run to transition where they'll change to bikes. Braden Curry and Richard Usher are under pressure from the Australian team in front and another Aussie team behind as Mark and Darren catch them. Swisse Active are already on the 36-kilometre Renault bike stage with a healthy lead on all their rivals. Jared and James have got a lot to smile about. Although with 600 metres of climbing on this stage, there's bound to be some grimacing too. From St Patrick's Head, you get an idea of how far they've raced today, and the 700-metre summit is where they're going next. At that height, it's only a mini mountain, but it has all the features of a full-sized one, including some hair-raising scrambles to the top, and a panorama of Tasmania's east coast when you get there. The leading enthusiast pairs take a moment to enjoy it.
That was insane. Oh, that was so beautiful.
The view goes on for miles, but all that's about to change, and on much of the final stage of day 3, you can hardly see your handlebars. Some of this Renault bike leg is just about rideable, but much of it is a test of bike handling skills and getting through anywhere you can. Michael Lydiard is raising funds for the charity Soldier On, which inspires Australia's wounded to overcome physical or psychological obstacles. And Michael's story does just that. He lost an eye, his lower right arm, and 2 fingers on his left hand while on patrol in Afghanistan. But Soldier On are here not just to complete, but to compete too. The pair reached the finish of day 3 in 8th place in the elite category.
The beach one wasn't a beach run, it was a rock hop, so it slowed us down a bit with my vision impairment. The water was fantastic, the open water. Really tested communication and teamwork, so that was fantastic.
Come to the mouth of the river, been trying to negotiate where it was and couldn't even see it, so yeah, just trying to judge where the less waves were, but yeah, we come off right near the beach, so fortunately we could stand up there.
Amongst the leaders, it's been another hard-fought day, giving the pre-race favourites plenty to sweat on as the Australia versus New Zealand battle goes on. Swisse Active have a slightly bigger advantage over the Kiwis than they did at the end of day 2, and the Aussie underdog's confidence is perhaps growing.
Braden and Rich have always been a little bit further ahead, so it's kind of good to get a chance to battle against them and so far knock them off. So just another 2 days to go, try to hold them off.
The leading enthusiast pairs have also had a successful day on land and water.
Punched through a few waves, Jared got a couple in the head.
Yeah, happy to get out the mouth and then tick up north. Caught a good one in to get through the bar and we were pretty happy, saw a few people go in.
But they weren't one of them, and they have the advantage over Tilford Auto Group, while Renault Sport are racing away with the teams category. Australia's on top in every section of the race, but the finish in Hobart is still 2 days away. A lot can and will happen before then. Join us for the rest of the journey after the break. Welcome back to the Swisse Mark Webber Tasmania Challenge. The 42 teams are heading for the start line of a 4th day of adventure. At least before the start, they can save their legs and proceed by Renault power. There are still 2 days and over 100 kilometres of racing before they reach the finish in the state capital of Hobart. At the northeastern tip of Tasmania, the Bay of Fires was named in 1773 by English sea captain Tobias Furneaux, the first man to circumnavigate the Earth in both directions. In 2009, it was voted one of Lonely Planet's top 10 holiday destinations in the world. Day 4 of the challenge starts here, and we'll explore what the area has to offer.
Yeah, the Bay of Fires is beautiful, especially on a sunny day. It's a nice ocean paddle to start with, a couple of optional CPs if you want to pick those up, and then a bit of a mystery discipline off the back of that, so that's going to be interesting to see how people handle that. And then it's a decent run actually, a coastal run, about a 10k coastal run, and then a solo mountain bike inland, and then we get back in the boats, finish off.
The day begins with a 3-kilometre dash to kayaks across the massive granite rocks with their distinctive orange lichen. Mark is paired with adventure racer Darren Clark today, aiming for another successful outing in the enthusiast team category. In the elite pairs race, James Preto of Swisse Active is still in the mood to race hard from start to finish, but a wrong turn in search of the first checkpoint leaves him high and dry. Despite that mistake, Swisse Active are first away on the Pure Tasmania kayak stage. Team Tasmania are just behind them, with Webber and Clark also chasing. They are just one of the enthusiast teams giving the elite pairs some extra competition. Team Rexona, powered by Olympic kayak champion Ken Wallace, are soon in the lead. Deanna Blegg and Kane Eckstein, paddling for Renault Sport, are also working hard. At the landing, Rexona are still in front, and only the Kiwis, Usher and Curry, can keep up. The pre-race favourites are more concerned about their rivals in the elite pairs race though. Swisse Active won't want to let the New Zealanders get away. They slide into the beach and stay upright, while behind them Mark and Darren, as well as Team Ironhouse, are caught by a wave. To continue, the kayaks must be dragged over 200 metres of sand. Then it's back to paddling in Sloop Lagoon. As they hit the checkpoints, the battle between the elite teams is ferocious. In 4 days of racing, they haven't dropped this tempo even once. The kayak stage ends in Binalong Bay. With its white sand and azure waters, it's a destination for seaside pursuits, and it's here that the teams will find out what their own mystery pursuit is all about.
Where each of the black crosses are is a white milk container as a float. Under the float's a bucket. Only one item from each bucket. So 3 items in total, and then bring them back in.
Ken Wallace and triathlete Courtney Atkinson probably won't have done underwater orienteering before.
You actually look professional. I look like I'm just going for a casual swim.
But everyone takes to it like ducks to the wet stuff.
How was that?
Yeah, good. Cold. Cold.
They can dry off on the 10 kilometres of running left today. It's a breeze to start with, but when they reach the Perron Dunes, the breeze is becoming a storm, and with the wind and soft ground, they're soon stumbling. Tasmania is a mountain biker's paradise, and there's also another 25 kilometres of trails to enjoy. The final stage of the day is an 8-kilometre Pure Tasmania kayak stage to St Helens, the game fishing capital of Tasmania. By now though, the wind has risen to gale force, and with even the jet skis scurrying for cover, only motorised transport can safely make headway against the wind, and the stage is cut short. Once again, the strongest over the whole day, Team Swisse Active are first to the repositioned finish line. They've more than doubled their lead today, and are just under an hour to the good. The pre-race favourites Usher and Curry could be running out of time.
It's hard to win these big international adventure races, and you know, a lot of things have got to go right, and we've still got one more day, so we're just going to stay focused.
With day 5 still to go, they can't take their foot off the gas yet. Though the enthusiast pairs leaders, the backcountry adventure addicts, can maybe start to plan the finish celebrations, as can enthusiast teams leaders Renault Sport. But they've all still got a job to do before that finish line, as the race ends with a dramatic descent from Mount Wellington into Hobart, where Mark Webber challenges the citizens on the adventure run. Join us after the break as we take the battle to Tasmania's capital. Welcome back to the Swisse Mark Webber Tasmania Challenge, which sees the teams arrive in the state capital of Hobart. The second oldest city in Australia, much of it built by convicts, it's brimming with cultural and culinary attractions and has been voted one of Lonely Planet's top 10 cities in the world to visit in 2013. On the shores of the Derwent River, Hobart is overshadowed by the magnificent Mount Wellington, and 1,200 metres above the sea, that's where the last day's racing will start, with a downhill dash to the finish at the waterside. As the challenge racers get ready for the descent, 400 more competitors are at the Henry Jones Art Hotel, a restored jam factory, warming up for the Swisse Mark Webber Tasmania Challenge Adventure Run, a 6.5 kilometre charity event that first took place last year. Webber himself will take part in the run, which will raise funds for the vital work of the Save the Tasmanian Devil Fund. As ever, it's a chance for Hobartians to get acquainted with Australia's Formula One star. On the mountain, the main race gets underway with a short run to the bikes. Jared Kohler of Team Swisse Active looks nervous. Competing in the elite pairs with James Preto, he's on the verge of the biggest win of his career, beating New Zealanders Richard Usher and Braden Curry. The Aussie duo must race aggressively for one more day to preserve their lead in the standings. Meanwhile, the pace at the start of the adventure run is a bit less frantic. Only Webber jumping the lights. The runaway leader, though, is a local man, Chris Sullivan, with Mark happy to have a more social run. The main race has moved off-road as they descend towards the finish. As they finally reach the Derwent River, there's just a short, pure Tasmania kayak stage to go, and it looks like there's no way Swisse Active can be denied this year. The adventure run at least is settled, and Sullivan romps back to the Henry Jones in a record time of 21 minutes 29, while in the women's event, Ruth Wilson improves from third last year to first place. Mark finishes in company and has saved something for a few hundred high fives with those behind him. With victories on all 5 days of the challenge, the dominance of Team Swisse Active is in no doubt. They will take first place over an hour ahead of their nearest rivals in the final elite pairs standings.
Yeah, it's really awesome to come down to Tassie and race around some beautiful country. It's probably one of my favourite areas of Australia, and you know, to have a win and to beat, you know, Richard and Braden and the two Marks, yeah, it does mean a lot.
Second place to the New Zealanders then, and Tassie's on the podium too, with the defending champions Ironhouse picking up third place. The French team Pure Tasmania finished fourth ahead of Renault Adventure. This year's race attracted an all-star international cast and gets the international seal of approval.
Some of the sections here have rivaled anything we've done anywhere in the world, and Tasmania is a beautiful spot and a great place to hold an adventure race. So I love the format with shorter days and stage, but still with the navigation. It's pretty unique and it's fantastic.
And in Tasmania, there's always a new place to race. With 2013 being the 30th anniversary of the establishment of the Tasmanian Wilderness World Heritage Area, the next challenge will take in historic Strahan and the West Coast. The route will also return to another World Heritage Area, and what is perhaps the most iconic view in Tasmania, Dove Lake and Cradle Mountain, as elites and enthusiasts alike take on another 5-day adventure in Tasmania.
But the highlights of me is this stuff where you see people coming across the line. I know and they know what they've done this week. That's the highlight for me. You see these guys go through the highs and lows, little mini arguments with each other, come back, oh, we've pulled that off, that's great, let's go again. Getting the checkpoints and navigation and the weather, what do we do here? And all that stuff is not just accumulating, it wears you down, and they've done a brilliant job of it.
In the enthusiast pairs race, the backcountry adventure addicts came back from third after day one to win, ahead of Tilford Auto Group and X-Tech. The team's event was dominated from the beginning by Deanna Blegg, Kane Eckstein and Taylor Cecil of Renault Sport. They were followed by 2 Rexona teams, with Ken Wallace's trio taking the silver.
I'd love to do it again because it's such a big event and we get looked after very well with it.
It was fantastic. Some of their mountain bike tracks were spectacular. It's probably the best tracks I've ever ridden.
I mean, the elite guys are just phenomenal. I mean, just to spend 8-10 hours out on a course and go as hard as what they do, it is just something else. And take our hats off to them. We battled our way through and it hurt. It hurt a lot.
This is my 3rd time doing this now, and it just gets better and better every time. Just makes you want to come back.
All the competitors, whether it's the elites or the enthusiasts, just everyone helps each other out. It's good team spirit, so fantastic event.
It's an awesome race. Really pushed ourselves. That's something beyond what we expected.
Amazing scenery and with the best team that I could have possibly found. So it's been a dream.
It's unbelievable. It's a really amazing achievement.
The things we've seen, the things we've done, I think they'll be with us for the rest of our lives.
We just learnt so much about ourselves and pushed ourselves physically, mentally. We're buzzing, stoked.
As hard and as broken as we are and as completely depleted and destroyed and all the adjectives and words you want to use, it was awesome. That's the only word for it.